Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Over 90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to simplify and secure bill pay. That's proven financial infrastructure built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. Visit Bill.com/proven for a special offer.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
All right. So we are back today with Sister Wives, Season 18, Episode 15, the first part of the one-on-one. But before we dive into Kody and the drama, this is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And Brooke and I released a very vulnerable episode on Thanksgiving. And so, but we weren't together on Thanksgiving. So I'm just very curious. Were you concerned at all? Or were you like, okay, whatever happens, happens. However people receive this is how they receive it.
Oh, I'm always concerned. I'm always worried. I worry about everything. I worried. Are people going to be like, who are these two fucking women? Like, who do they think they are?
Well, we've heard that before.
Like who cares, But I don't know. It seemed to be well received. We got several very positive reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, we did. I don't go on there anymore because that was upsetting me. But that's nice. Oh, good.
We did. We
nice.
did.
Oh, good.
So then I was like, okay, we're not totally crazy. Like, someone enjoyed it. And I think that's, at a certain point, if you want to build an audience and you want to build rapport with people, you have to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And because I know that's what I like. And that there's people who I have listened to their podcasts for 10 plus years and I feel like I know them, and that's, you don't feel like that unless people are open and honest with you about stuff. So, we're not going to be like that all day, every day. But, I think it was good and we'll try going forward to kind of slip in a few more things and be vulnerable. So along those lines, why don't you tell me,
tell you.
We're about we haven't spoken since, before Thanksgiving. And I was just telling Tess before we started recording that I went to Los Angeles to visit my daughter, and it was great to see her. And we did a lot of stuff, but I am so over Los Angeles drivers. I was on edge the whole time. The driving there is, my nerves are fried. And my little baby is in the car driving me and she's going like so fast. And I'm like, slow down. She's like, Mom, I cannot merge onto the freeway if everyone's going 70 and I'm only going, 55. And I'm like, okay, I know you're right. But my God, it was the whole time. It was so nerve wracking. People drive so fast. They drive so crazy. They are crazy. And everywhere you go, it takes so long, so much time in the car to do anything. So I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
I'm
imagine.
Literally, and I will never complain about Bay Area drivers, at least not for a while, because it is so, it is so much more mellow here. There are people who are jerks, but everybody is not going that fast. And it was just, I'm an old lady, I guess. I'm officially an old lady. I can't handle the driving. So anyway, even though I did drive, I drove home from Malibu, on the PCH at pitch black, everyone's going 70, 75 miles an hour, and you just have to go with the flow. And it's like, I can barely see. So, but it was fun. We had a good time. Believe it or not.
Well, that's good.
Despite all of that.
Despite Brooke's old ladiness.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing about LA. It's so hard. It's so everything's so spread out, and everything is, it's the old joke was everything was 20, 30 minutes away. Now I think everything's 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
And every time, because I lived in LA for only 3 years, but each time I would go back and visit friends, it seemed like people kept moving farther and farther east. So, I worked out in the Pacific Palisades. That's where my boss lives. So to go see her was like an hour trip. And then let's go back, and we have to go all the way back to Echo Park. It's like, and you have no idea. You and I live, actually, when you really think about it, it seems like you and I live far apart, but without traffic, it's about 15 minutes. It's about a 15-minute drive between the two of us. So this would be considered close in LA. So I do not miss LA traffic or LA drivers by any means. So I was here in the Bay Area. I was responsible for Mom, making sure that Mom had a Thanksgiving, and it was nice. It was very mellow. Poor Steve cooked everything. And he did a really great job, though.
Yeah,
he always does.
I saw some pictures on Instagram, and Layla said, well, he never cooks this good when we're there. It looked like he'd stepped it up.
He did. I think there was a year that he did. I think there was a lot going on or something. But yeah, he did a great job with the turkey. Was not dry at all. The only thing that did not turn out very well was this. I wanted this cornbread sausage stuffing, and he just used the weirdest sausage. I was just like, whoa. And then the other thing is we ordered all of these pies, and we ordered mini pies. And so when you think about mini pies, you think, enough for 4 people to each get a good piece of pie. These mini pies were tiny. They were like teeny tiny hand pies. Steve had to go back and get more pies. We were like, this isn't going to be enough pie. From this pie lady that's down the street from us. So there's a lot of people here in the Bay Area who, a lot of amazing chefs and bakers. And there's a lot of people that just, they just make their pies out of their house or wherever. There's a few people that are, that we could have gone to, and we actually went to the less expensive place, because a really good pie at this one pie place in Oakland was $50.
Yeah. I know those bake sale Betty pies that I usually get. Yeah, they're 45, 50, 55. Yeah. But they're big pies. They're regular size.
Yeah. But
so how was Mom?
Okay. Mom was good. No, Mom was good. Mom was fine. Max, my son, made an appearance for the meal and ate with us, and then disappeared again into his room, which is fine. That's enough of that's all Mom needs. But she was fine. She was fine, lucid. We watched the Barbie movie. It was excellent. Glad we finally saw it. Yeah, really good. And different than what I thought. It was different than what I thought it was going to be. And we watched that, and then that was it. And then Steve drove her home. It was very mellow. And then this whole weekend, I've really done nothing. Each day I was like, oh, I'll do this. Oh, I'll do that. And not a thing.
Well, that's
and I
nice.
Still am exhausted.
Well, I don't know why you're exhausted.
I know. I don't have a reason to be. I don't have a reason to be, because I've been with Layla, and Layla exhausts me for an afternoon. I'm just like, you got to stop. You got to let me have coffee or something, girl. You're too much.
The combination of her go, and all that traffic and stuff. Yeah. And of course, I don't think I've ever flown on Thanksgiving weekend. That's an ordeal, being in the airport. My flight was delayed. I didn't get home till 11:30. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, happy to be here. Happy to be back into my routine of watching Sister Wives on Sunday night, even if it was in the airport. I still found an outlet, plugged in and watched it.
Well, I when before we started, I said, "Oh, I don't think much happened," but you felt like this was very significant. So give me your overall thoughts on part 1.
Okay, so the way it started out, they started out with Kody. I think they did some recapping or whatever. Who cares? That's all they ever do. But anyway, so Kody comes out in his suit, and he's feeling all full of himself, and he actually started out, I felt, really kind of telling some hard truths about these marriages that we'd never really heard before. He finally came out and he admitted that he didn't love he did not love Meri, Janelle, or Christine. He was not in love with them when he married them, that he was so focused on the faith of plural marriage, and that he was just focused on getting wives, and he was focused on, okay, well, who's willing to do this with me? Because I can imagine there's not a lot of people out there who are dying to do this. So I don't know if that was totally him or if he had pressure from his family, because remember, he was a regular LDS church, went off to do his Mormon mission and comes back, and his dad had embraced this faith and I think pushed it down his throat, seems like to me. Like, you have to do this because I'm doing it. And then he had this pressure to find these wives. And he's basically said he was not looking for love. He was looking for a woman who would live the faith with him. And I was like, wow, finally you told the truth, because up until now, we've always heard this stuff about how, he loved all of them in different ways and blah, 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 and then tried to blame the failure of the marriages on them. So that's kind of where his truthfulness and his earnestness ended, So he told the truth about that. And then he also explained that how when he met Robyn, he fell in love with her. Genuinely, he'd never been in love before. And he was the first time he felt vulnerable and felt like someone was nice to him and cared about him and cared about his feelings. And so, of course, he would rather be with that person than with these other people who he said treated him like he was just a quote unquote resource, for support, money, sex, whatever.
Yeah. Don't forget about the packs, bro.
Yeah. We'll get into that. Yeah. We can get into that later. But yeah. So I feel like when he experienced real love for the first time, he then became resentful of the other women. And that's where all their relationships really started to break down. They were already not good when he met Robyn. But then he never takes responsibility. Then from that point on, he never takes responsibility for his role in it. It was all like, well, it's not my fault, that this all happened. I was just doing what I was supposed to do. And this is where it hit me. This is where that whole knife in the kidneys thing, that's what he was talking about when he said, the sacrifices I made to love you, Christine. I pretend I didn't, I met the love of my life, but yet I didn't leave you behind. I didn't dump you. I sacrificed my time with Robyn, to continue to be in this relationship with you, even though he didn't love her, according to him. But it all kind of fell into place for me. Like, oh, okay, finally, we understand. But then he doesn't take responsibility for any of it. He doesn't. He's not accountable for any of it.
Well, I guess it wasn't such an aha for me because I don't know. My biggest thing was with Kody and the whole situation, which is I felt like he kept blaming these other women for, like Janelle, Meri, and Christine, for the fact that he didn't love them. And I do feel like what Janelle was saying, that he is rewriting history a little bit, that he's not taking this perspective. Yes, okay. You were not in love with them because you didn't know what love was. I mean, you were 19 or 20 when you and Meri got married. Then neither of you really knew what love was. And this is the natural course of relationships. And I think why polygamy doesn't really work, or these kinds of situations, or when people rush to marriage, especially when you're young, is there's so much growing to do as a human being that if he had just dated Meri for a year, then dated Janelle, then dated Christine, and then met Robyn, this wouldn't be a problem. And the thing is that what's happening that he's not acknowledging is also that, number one, it wasn't just the fact that he had to keep all these feelings inside and make all these sacrifices to love them. He also had to, like, you wanted the show, Kody. So you also were kind of like deceiving all of us and stuck around for the show and you feel like they were using you for resources. You were using them for resources. Right. I'm sorry.
As
you weren't
getting on the show.
Yes, because it wasn't like you met Robyn, you fell in love, you finally felt this for the first time, and you said, well, record scratch, everyone. I'm getting rid of the three of you. I found the love of my life. Sorry, TLC, we're not going to do the show. Here I go. Right? No, he basically was like, I fell in love, and the love grew and grew and grew and grew. And the other thing that he's not talking about is the fact that part of this whole catch-22 this whole time has been that Robyn wants to be in a plural marriage. So the one person that he loves doesn't want to be marriage. He needs, in order to be with the one woman that he loves, he has to maintain these other relationships of these other women. And so there's a little bit of this like, okay, but Kody, why do you have to rewrite history as if these women didn't give you anything? Well, that's the part that really bugs me. And come on, you can't see the perspective. Christine can, Janelle can, Meri can, but you can't, because I don't know. It really irritated me.
Well, the reason why he's now doing this is because he is to save face. He does not want to look like the bad guy. So he has to make it seem like everybody else has dumped him, abandoned him, done him wrong, even his own children. Because many years ago, obviously part of the reason why he stayed in these quote unquote loveless marriages was because he had all these children. And I don't think that he would have abandoned them. But now that they are older and they're gone anyway, it's like he called his children assholes like several times. You know, he's saying his kids are assholes. These women are awful, you know, so that he can come out being like not the bad guy. There's got to be some explanation, justification, whatever it is. He cannot just say, well, yeah, they're mad at me because I basically was living a lie. And my children are mad at me because I basically, you know, I just couldn't, I was living a lie with them too, by extension, you know, it's a family, right? So again, he cannot take any responsibility. So he's blaming everybody else and saying that it's all their fault. He's the victim. So victimized. And then Robyn, she didn't really have that much to say in this episode, but she claims that she didn't know any of this. She didn't know that Kody was not in love with them, the other three wives, which I find very hard to believe because Kody loves to talk. He loves to gossip. You know, he accuses he actually said he doesn't speak to his children because that would be gossiping. Wow. You know, I don't know. This is just, he just talks out of both sides of his mouth. It's just infuriating.
What did you think about everyone's songs? Right? Losing My Religion was Kody's. Christine's was I Can See Clearly Now. Meri's was All the Single Ladies. And Janelle's was We Will Rock You, which I thought was a little odd. And then I was waiting for Robyn's. I'm like,
Robyn didn't
good.
Get one.
Robyn didn't get one. And all day long, I keep thinking, what would be Robyn's sad song? It would be some kind of
It would be a sad
It would be
song.
like, I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me?
Yes.
But she wouldn't know that song. She wouldn't know back.
Too cool for her. Now, I thought the other wives ones were funny and clever. But of course, Kody's is like taking himself way too seriously. And again, I don't think he really knows that song. I don't think he listens to REM.
Well, and the other thing was, I want to talk about the fashions for a second, because Kody's suit was better than last year's, a lot better.
Yeah.
But did you notice, like, this is what bugs me about the TV show and the producers of the show, because I do appearances. I'm on NBC News. I do a lot of things. And the first thing they tell you when they tell you about going on TV is they say, don't wear patterns, bright colors, solid colors, and after a while, once you've been on TV for a certain length of time, at least once or twice, like, these are good colors for me. These are the colors I should use when I'm in doing this thing. None of these women ever, Christine, I thought, looked the best in that green shirt. And, but the other women, they just picked these colors that drown them out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why hasn't each of them, Janelle, Meri, and Robyn, were all wearing the same sort of style of a blazer that looks like it's not even
it's a soft
kind of
blazer. It's not even
a soft blazer.
Yeah. It's like,
and they're
it's
all
like
wearing
office casual.
Yes.
Like
and they're all,
casual.
but Kody's wearing a suit with this collar kind of out, and no one fixes that. I mean, it's just, I've got people, I do these 2-minute segments, and I've got a producer coming on the air going, tilt your camera this way, do this, move this over here, do that. I mean, for a 2-minute segment for on NBC News that, is not even that national. And I get more of that than these people. And it's like, does not one of you care? Not Christine and Meri, but anybody who's on the other side, hair, makeup, anybody?
No, they don't even give them hair and makeup. They clearly are doing their own hair and probably makeup, because look at the eyebrows are still there. Robyn's eyebrows are still there. There's not a single person in her life who can tell her, Robyn, you can't go on TV again with those eyebrows. And now I noticed, you said this last week, I think, Meri now has these pencil thin eyebrows drawn in, drawn on. Okay. Janelle actually looks the best. She's got the best, I think, amount of makeup. And Christine. But no, I mean, they've been on TV for so long. Yeah, you'd think that by this time they'd get a stylist, they'd get a professional to do their hair and makeup. I don't know what it is, but I mean, every other reality star on earth gets a glow up after the first season or two.
It doesn't need to be a huge glow up. Listen, I know a woman here in the Bay Area that this is what she does. Like, she does, and she's got reasonable prices, and you pay. All they need to do is go see someone once or twice a year at the most. Maybe once a year, you go and see someone who will help you clean out your closet, help you shop for some things. It's a couple $1,000.
People like that.
Oh my gosh. Like, why
can go
is this so hard
TikTok.
for them?
Go on TikTok. There's tons of tips on there about how to dress and how to do your hair and how to do your makeup. There's no excuse for it. And actually I thought Kody looked like Christine and Kody looked the best. Yeah. Cause they had the bold colors.
Yes. You need bold, solid colors.
Yeah.
Who was wearing rose on rose? That was Robyn. It just drowned her out. She's wearing a rose color, a pastel. They specifically tell you no pastels, no prints and no pastels, because they drown you out. You want bold colors. Even I try to avoid black. My whole wardrobe is black, but I try to avoid black. So
so you're not trying too hard.
Yeah. Well, I'm not appearing on TV every day, right? So, but the thing is that Sukanya at least she had a black sort of suit on, but she had this bold color, like not one.
She also has a skin tone where you can basically wear anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Robyn is pale, like these other people are pale. So, then you have to try extra hard.
Yeah. And Kody definitely glued his hair a bit because he really managed those curls.
Yeah. He
really
wanted them to cover his bald spot.
Yes. And it did not move. I was watching it the whole time. It did not move. And I was like, oh, he made it so that no one, it's glued or something. But anyway, that was the first page of my notes. We're just...
Yeah, I don't expect
all
much.
The fashions. Yes. So that's interesting. We did learn though, that Christine said, and this played out in the first episode of the series when, she said to us, oh, you're in love. Like she talks about how being, sitting on the edge of her bed, watching Kody get ready for a date with Robyn, and he's having all of these feelings and her realizing, oh, you're in love with her. And I'm thinking to myself, and she was like, what, 6, 7, 8 months pregnant at the time?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
And she stayed for another, 10 years. I mean, that's the thing. Like she's basically saying, oh yeah, once I figured that out, I picked up on all these other clues and I realized, oh yeah, Kody really can help out because he helps Robyn. He just doesn't want to help me.
Yeah.
The sad part is that, she waited all that time, but I mean, financially she was stuck.
Yeah, you're pregnant. You're pregnant with the baby. Like you are. She must have felt so stuck and so
but she
miserable
has
for so
a family. Why couldn't she have called up her family and said, "Help, help me, help"? Because her parents seemed to care. Her mom even moved in with them for a few years to help out with the kids after Aspen, who was basically her spouse and helped her with everything, went to college. Why didn't her parents? I don't know. I don't know.
So Cody's explanation is that because he's not in love with these women, this is why Christine and Janelle have been trash talking him. They're trash talking me because I didn't love them. That was his next line. Like this is where things started to go off the rails. And but then he says, I want romantic love with Janelle. He said that at one point. So this is the part that's very, very confusing because a big part of part one was really about the Janelle Kody fight, the infamous fight. And I also think, is it just me? Was there extra footage in there? There was footage I've never seen before, ever. Or maybe I imagined it. And one of the comments that people were pointing out, though I don't know if closed captioning got it wrong, was at one point, Janelle said to Kody, "You're an alcoholic." And that showed up in closed captioning. I saw a bunch of people talking about this online.
I don't think she said that.
And I was like, no, closed captioning gets these things wrong sometimes. And they'll get some big things wrong. And so I'm wondering, did she really slip that in? Like, you're an alcoholic to him?
No.
Oh, you didn't hear that. Okay.
No, I didn't hear it. Now, I think I heard, it was something else. Someone cleared that up. But, but Kody, he kept going back and forth. In one breath, he said, well, after that fight, I was just thinking, I never want to see Janelle again. Cut to a month later when she agrees to go to Salsa Brava with him. He's all giddy, like he wants to get back together with her. And then they went out on that date for her birthday, and then she rebuked him again. And so then now he's angry again. It's like, Kody, you're so full of shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, so now wait, you want romantic love with Janelle? Because Janelle's coming at it from this place of, listen, maybe I thought we were in love. I thought it was love. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. He clearly is in love with Robyn. That's not what we had. We both let this marriage fall apart, but I'm fine with him picking this person. Let's go. Right. She's very, Janelle's always been very pragmatic. So, but she's coming at it from this place. But this is what's so infuriating and frustrating about Kody. And I feel for these women because this is probably what he does to them, which is, I love Robyn. I never loved you, but I'm upset with you, for leaving. I'm upset with this one for leaving with me. And I'm upset with you because you don't love me and you're just using me for my hard pecs.
Yeah.
And then this third one keeps hanging on. But it just drives me crazy.
Well, because it's all ego driven. He cannot accept that someone doesn't want him, even though that he doesn't want them. And it makes no sense. And he's mad that you're there. He's mad that you're not there.
Yeah.
And you cannot please him.
No. And the other thing is he's mad at Christine and Janelle for getting along and having such a great time and living their lives. And he's like, why weren't they like that 25 years ago? It's like, this is the problem is Kody cannot stop for a second and go, well, let's all go back 20 years from now. 20 years ago, they had young children. You guys were all struggling financially and you were in a different place. Like, yeah, Janelle and Christine are probably a lot freer and nicer and probably don't snip at each other so much because their kids are grown. Their kids are grown. They're in a different place in their life.
They said they worked it out. Yeah,
Yes.
they're not saying that they didn't have hard times and whatever. They're saying, but that's over. We got through that. We worked through that. And it turns out, we really do like each other. We want to be in each other's lives and are in each other's kids' lives. Again, this is so nuanced. This is way too nuanced for Kody. It's like, you're just loyal. That's what he was. He was so mad at Janelle for siding with Christine and being disloyal when Christine left. And but you said you don't love them. You don't want them. Like, why are you upset that they're leaving?
Well, and then he's mad at Janelle, like, you co-parent with Christine. And she's like, you weren't available. Like, what is wrong? So these women are actually living the plural lifestyle. Yes, maybe they fought a little bit more way back when. I don't know. We weren't there, Kody, but I can imagine that they were in a different place in their lives. They were different people, less mature, all of these. You were all very young when you all got together. You're all different people now. And so why is this such a big deal? It's just a big deal.
Big deal.
It's a big deal.
I don't know.
God, but you know what, Brooke? You know what triggers Kody? Trees.
The Christmas tree.
Christmas trees. Do not show Kody a Christmas tree. Do not show Kody a Christmas tree because he will lose his shit.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't invited to Christmas. Actually, he probably was. Somebody probably did invite him to that Airbnb Christmas. Not that he would go. But yeah, it was all about that, everyone wasn't coming to his house for Christmas and like kissing the ring. And
well, and he said he has contempt for the way in which Janelle treated him. And I was like, okay, contempt is like, that is for a therapist, that's like always a danger word. When you hear contempt in a marriage, it's like, oh, things are really, really, really bad. Really bad. But his big thing is that, they are treating him poorly now to justify how because he doesn't love them. So, but you're just announcing now that you don't really ever love them. And they've been hanging out this whole time, Kody. Like, what are you talking about?
They've known all this time. You don't really love them.
But even still, it's like this, it's such this weird paranoia that these two women have like diabolically gotten together and said, you and I, we don't have a lot of time, but let's spend all of our extra time together, even though we hate each other, just to F with this guy over here. It's like, no, Kody, nobody has that kind of time or energy and nobody cares.
No accountability. Anything to weasel his way out of any sort of accountability or culpability, as he likes to say, for his role in this family. Yeah. So he started out okay. Like, I was like, okay, at least you acknowledge what happened. But then it just went downhill from there. And I have to say, when he was talking about this, concept of not really loving them and just marrying just, to try to progress this polygamy concept. I thought, of course, of the Dargers. And one of our listeners, Cassie, she wrote us an email explaining some stuff about the Dargers, which was very helpful. And, you know why the Dargers work?
Why?
He's in love with all of them. Because remember how Alina and Vicky, when they were all in high school, they said, we're both going to get married to him. And they sort of had like a throuple, they were, and then he married them on the same day. They really loved each other. They were in love. And, they got the blessings of the families and all that kind of stuff. And then I guess Alina and Vicky, the first two wives, actually told Joe that he should marry Valerie, Vicky's sister, before Joe ever brought up to them that, in fact, I do have some special feelings about Valerie. So that's why they work, because he loves all of them.
Well, I've also heard
love all these people.
But I've also heard that, but again, I think I don't know. Do you really want to be in that Dogger family? Does that really seem like love? It seems like such a patriarchy. It is a patriarchy, but you can have love within a patriarchy.
Yeah,
I know.
If you accept the terms of it and it's okay with you.
I guess so.
You know? And that's the thing. Like Kody was always trying to be so egalitarian, like, oh, no, I'm not like these other polygamists.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not enough. Like, you still have to have love for it to work, like, long term. And your wives not want to leave you at some point. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to love them. You have to treat them lovingly and make them feel like they want to stay with you.
Yeah. No, it's very obvious. Kody really doesn't know who he is. He truly does not know who he is as a human being, because very young, LDS church, goes off, comes back being told, okay, now we're doing this thing. And he's like, okay, I will do this thing for a while. I'll do this thing. And he focused on this thing. And then, you know, he meets Robyn, the show comes out, and he's like, okay, well, I've got to keep this thing rolling. I've got to keep this thing rolling. It's like, I don't think Kody has ever spent any time really asking him any questions about, like, who am I? What do I want? What makes me happy? What's anything? He is like a tornado that
He's putting out fires. He has so much going on. He has so many people around him. All he does is put out fires all day long.
Well, not anymore, though. I mean, how many fires can you really put out with Aurora and, you know, these I mean, I don't know how busy he is these days, but
Robyn claims that, was it in this episode or is it a preview? That, you know, Kody is now kind of taking things out on her and he's, you know, sabotaging their relationship and picking fights with her. I think that was a scene from next week. And yeah, so he's lashing out. You know, now I kind of slightly felt a little bad for Robyn, because now he's taking it all out on her. And yeah, she was the one person who really wanted this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she wasn't jealous, I don't think. I don't know.
Well, how can you be jealous if you know you're number one? If you know you're, you know that but again, I'm very much in this wait and see place with Robyn and Kody. Like I'm not doubting their love, but I'm also kind of wondering how the two of them are going to do. Mm-hmm. You know, because this is a big problem that they have. Which is she really wants this kind of lifestyle and this isn't happening. That's one problem. And then the second problem is, yes, they've been living like a monogamous couple for a few years, but let's give it some more time. Like, okay, a couple years, let's give it 10 and see what happens.
Yeah. And now there's no longer anyone else to blame for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? Oh, yeah. That too. That's a very good point, because if he doesn't have Christine or Janelle or Meri to point fingers at, and he and Robyn are having problems, then yeah, you know, so then are you going to blame monogamy and then go back around and do this again? You know, does Kody have it in him? I mean, I don't know, but this is, let's see. So, but Meri says this. Meri says Kody needs to look inside himself. He blames everyone else. I'm like, thank you, Meri. You're absolutely right. So the fight, I guess, a lot of that fight was triggered by the tree. But it was also, it sounds like one of the other issues besides the issue with her boys was this issue where, and Janelle and Christine have different versions of this, of, I guess, when Kody got COVID, he was very, very sick. He calls Janelle and says, I've gotten sick. I've got COVID. Come home. And Janelle was like, oh, okay. You know, what do you need from me? And okay, maybe I'll try to come home. And she and
Christine were on a vacation. I'm not quite sure how far away they were or where they were. But.
Well, but according to Janelle, she was willing to come home, and that she said that Kody stopped her and said, you know what, you're not going to be able to do anything for me. It's fine. Stay there. Christine's version, which I thought was very interesting, was Christine convinced Janelle not to go. Christine said to Janelle, which she's right, what are you going to do? Go to the store and drop it off at his house? Like, anybody can do that. Anybody. Yeah. It doesn't need to be you. So why are you
why are you
leaving vacation and our vacation for this. So I thought that was weird. Like they have very different versions of events, but it sounds like he was harboring a lot of anger of her not rushing to his bedside with COVID and the fact that she was kind of like, oh, you got COVID. Okay. And that I think he really wanted to talk about how close to death he was all the time for months and months.
Well,
and she wasn't going to put up with it.
He was not close to death. If he were close to death, he would have gone to the hospital, called an ambulance. He would have been in the hospital. Only people who were close to death were in the hospital. In the hospital. It's just a lie. It's all, he's just a liar. He was just using that as an excuse to try to get some attention, to see how loyal she was. Because he probably knew she was on vacation with Christine and it was a loyalty test.
I'm sure it was.
Is she going to stay there with Christine, or is she going to come home and drop some cough syrup off on my porch? What can she do?
Yeah. So he feels like Janelle wasn't empathetic towards him about, his divorce, and she, he doesn't know if Janelle is even capable of empathy. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he goes into this whole thing about how, those two it's just a big F you to me, those two hanging out. And the best is Christine laughing, saying, yeah, now you got a taste of plural marriage. Now you got a taste of what it's like to feel jealous, what it's like to see two people go off and
not give a crap about you,
and not give a crap about you and your problems and your worries and anything else. That is what it's like. And I think that's the other part that's fed into his, this narcissism, is that he has always been the one that's been able to go off. Like he's always been a number one. He's always been the person that people have been seeking. And so for the first time, your children don't need you. These women don't need you. No one really needs you. And so what is your value? What is your worth?
Well, he still has two young kids at home that he could put some energy into.
Yeah, I'm saying he can do that, but I'm just saying on this larger picture, he's finally kind of getting sort of a taste of what we all feel, which is, you're not always the center of the orbit of anything, of 19 families. Like people are going to go off and do things without you and not care.
I've never been the center of the orbit of anything. I've never been the center of, who
you're the center of the orbit of Psych Legal Pop Podcast.
I don't know.
There you go.
I don't feel like I've ever been the center of attention anywhere. But God, okay. I get so tired of talking about him.
All right. Well, anyway, and then the the last little part was, so Sukanya asks a good question, which I thought was, she says to Kody, why couldn't you just get over yourself and say, hey, I'd like to come to Christmas? Mm-hmm. The question that we have all been asking, like, why can't Kody just, okay, you're triggered by the tree, you see the tree, you're triggered, but why can't you just stop and say, I'm really hurt that I'm not invited, or I'm upset, or I would really, I want to spend
Christmas with you.
Yeah, any of that. And he launches into this whole thing about how he can't even answer the question. He really can't, because he doesn't have much of a thing. So he goes into this whole thing about Robyn, of like, the kids have all blamed Robyn and he needs to protect Robyn. And he felt like the kids are trying to break up their relationship. And it's like, so by going to their house on Christmas, this is your kids, again, diabolical plan to break you and Robyn up.
And Robyn disputed that.
Yes. Because she said if she got an invite, she would go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She totally disputed all of that. She said she never asked for the apology. It was not required. She did not require it. If she were invited, she would have gone. She would have taken her kids. I'm not sure if I totally believe all that, but it's not like she's aligned with Kody in this hard line of, this is how it is.
There's a lot of bullying.
Kody
is bullied. He is triggered by trees and he is bullied. But yeah, he makes
him. I thought he was saying that like the older kids were bullying Robyn, and
I think and probably her kids as well. Like they are bullying. It's so ridiculous.
Yet Aurora and Gabe are like hugging each other at school, saying "I miss you," and you know what I mean. It's like this is such a lie.
Yeah.
It's just, he's such a liar at the end of the day.
Yes. And then we go back to the big fight, and Kody's like, well, after my fight with Janelle, I never wanted to talk to her ever again. And then Robyn starts crying. I did notice no tears. She did wipe away something near her eyes. No, her eyes got a little watery.
They got glassy and watery. Yeah.
Yes, but it never got very far. It just, that's as far as it got. And it was just so funny after that fight, because Kody went into this, I never want to talk to her again. I hate her, and then we see him obviously at Salsa Brava 6 weeks later, hat in hand, talk about hat in hand, desperate to get back in with Janelle. And Janelle was like, oh my God, I felt relieved. I was upset for a little while, but I ran errands, probably had to pick up Savannah.
20 minutes later, I was fine.
Yeah. She felt a huge burden was lifted.
Yeah.
She didn't have to keep making an effort with this person any longer. It was like, oh, I don't have to deal with you anymore. Bye.
That was quick.
Yes.
Literally in the time it takes to run an errand. She was like, you know what? Fuck this.
Yeah.
Don't need this.
So, and then of course, Sukanya and Janelle laughing at Kody's his pecs and his 6-pack abs and that how Janelle has always seen him as a physical specimen and a resource.
A piece of meat.
Yes.
A piece of
But
meat.
she never dove into his humanity. He's like a pool boy. He's like the pool boy. Janelle has been treating him like the pool boy. Oh, boy. What do you think a pool boy does,
What
Kody?
a fantasy. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, but this is why I think he and Janelle have had a freaky deaky relationship, a sexual relationship. I really do. And I think that he did not want Janelle to go, because I think for various reasons, I do think that he might not be quote unquote in love with Janelle, but I think he loves her. And I think he likes being with her and hanging out with her. And I think he's like, if I can just hold on to Janelle, she's super easy. This will satisfy Robyn. This will make her happy. And and she's a good earner. She'll earn money. She'll keep going, and let's keep it rolling. I think his fantasy is to keep Janelle around on the payroll.
Well, I'm kind of starting to doubt if Janelle is really the financial wizard everyone thinks she is, given her current situation. But you're right. I think it would satisfy Robyn to have at least one other wife.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. Sorry, people. I'm on Instagram because I'm looking for a question. Keep going, Brooke. Sorry.
Oh, so, he has to have at least one other wife, and he'd prefer to have Janelle than Meri. And, she is making some money, but again, I don't know if she's the financial whiz. It's just compared to everybody else. Yeah. But I mean, she wouldn't be in the situation she is now if she was. But that's a whole other issue.
So we got a question from Julia Barrett. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. She's asking you, I would love a legal take on Christine's ability to receive child support for Truly. And so I didn't know, as far as from our understanding, we have no idea if Kody is giving Christine any child support or supporting her at all. Correct?
No.
Okay.
And those records they're usually confidential anyway. So it's not like anyone could go find out. But yeah, we don't even know if Kody has ever established paternity, Well,
I think he had to, right? Because that birth was on camera and they were at a hospital. And I assume both of them signed that birth certificate.
Not necessarily.
Oh, you think it's possible that she was just like, well, keep him off?
Yeah. He would have had to sign. They weren't legally married. If they were legally married, he'd be the presumptive father. He'd be on the birth certificate. But if you're not legally married, you have to sign a declaration of paternity, saying, I take responsibility. I'm the father of this child. And then if they separate, the child moves away or whatever, she still would have to go to court because, again, she has to get a child support order. And it's a lot of legal hoops you have to jump through. And, she may have thought, what, I've been doing this on my own all this time. I'm just going to keep doing it on my own. It's not worth it to me. I'm not going to go to court with Kody. I'm not going to get into that because, that would just make him incensed to have to go to court.
And the other thing too is, because I've had some clients who have made the choice not to ask for support, even though they needed it, was that once you start asking for support, then the person that's giving the support can now start to demand visitation and more visitation rights. And so
which lowers your support.
Yes. And so, but if you are, if you have a partner that you're not sure about or you're concerned about, do you really want to then start to get into a legal battle with them? And then now you're doing 50-50 and you're worried half the time that your kid's not okay. Like, so that's the part that's so tricky about some of this stuff is people don't realize, like, in turn for, when you ask for support in exchange, the person who's giving the support can start to demand visitation and start to demand more and more, right?
Yeah,
so then you have to relinquish some control.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure that Christine just said, you know what? It's not worth it. I can do it on my own. And she probably knew that Kody was not going to go after custody or visitation. He's just not going to do that. He's not going to put himself out there like that. And, and also too, just based upon his past behavior, he's never really supported his children. Like when Isabel had to have that surgery, his kids have never been insured, or at least not all of them at the same time, maybe some here or there randomly. They didn't have insurance. Christine had to go out and get, kind of a crappy insurance policy where she had like a $50,000 deductible.
Oh my God.
To get this surgery. And I think she had to raise money. There was like a GoFundMe and like different efforts. She had to raise $50,000 to do the surgery, pay to go out. That Kody didn't lift a finger. And that whole thing with Dayton and getting in the ATV accident, he had no insurance. And there was this hospital bill. We talked about this once before. People speculate that they used that hospital bill as leverage over his biological father to, relinquish parental rights, saying that they wouldn't go after him for the bill if he'd relinquished parental rights. These are just rumors. We don't know. But there's a lot of evidence that he's never really taken care of his kids, that when it comes down to it, money is more important than time with them. So I don't know. We don't know. There's no way for us to know. Cause like I said, even if there were some records, they'd be confidential, and Christine's not going to talk about that.
Yeah. And I think Christine was so grateful to be able to be like, here's Coyote Pass. I'm taking my house. I'm taking Truly. We're moving to Utah. Peace out. I mean, I think she probably did this as quietly as she could. Like she was not going to rattle any cages by asking for money. And I do wonder how it works now with, what was happening before Christine left with the family pot of money because as the kids were getting older, and things were happening, how was the money divided and all of these things?
Only Kody knows. Yeah. Only Kody knows because he was the one who was doing it.
Yes.
It was everything came down to him. Ultimately, he had the final say in everything.
Gosh, it would be so great if one of these women sues Kody and they have to get like a forensic accountant, and then we get it. We get it all. We see it all. We see all the money. It would be so great. And then we could finally know where all this money went, because it's true. It's very much like, where is all of this money? I mean, obviously you have this big family and supporting this big family, but where,
well, you're presuming they had all of this money. I don't know how much money they were really getting it's only been like a popular show the past couple of years. I don't think they were really getting paid that much money, and they were going to be canceled, and they agreed to take a pay cut and all kinds of stuff. I don't think, and they're not financially savvy at all. So, I don't think they ever had that much money. But also it's interesting. Christine and Janelle just recently after the season finale, they sort of made the rounds on all these talk shows.
Yeah.
And so some interesting things came out of that. And I did get a little bit worried about Christine.
Are you worried about her and David?
Yeah, this thing with David really was fast. I guess they talked online for a couple months. And then like on their second date, she spilled everything to him about her whole life. And he kind of acted like it seemed like he pretended he didn't know all this. He didn't know who she was, but it turned out he really did know her and know her whole story. And then a month later, she was shopping for wedding dresses. It was a lot.
Yes.
And her head is very much up in the clouds.
Yeah.
And,
well, they went to Disneyland for their honeymoon. I mean, these are 50-year-olds.
And she was talking about how her favorite thing in life is that he has coffee with her out on their deck every morning, which is lovely. But her standards are so low coming from Kody, that like that, the fact that someone would sit on a porch every morning and have coffee with her, to her is just overwhelming.
Yes.
So yeah, and I guess, David has met Kody, and I guess we're going to see it. They said next season. So they keep talking about next season. She said we're going to see her wedding next season.
Well, I think I just saw that there's a 2-part, Christine's wedding's a 2-parter that they're going to air in January.
Oh, like a standalone special?
Yeah. So I think we're going to get to know David Woolley Brown, and, we can then judge it then. We just don't know him well enough. But yeah, that's what I said. I was saying, like, know this guy for a full year before you're going to commit to anything. And I'm sorry, once you get engaged and you start to get on that wedding train and all of that, that is like a roller coaster. It's like you need to know each other for a full calendar year before you even talk about the future. And then, go from there. Because, but yeah, I don't know. And maybe this is because her standards are so low, maybe this is good enough. Do you know what I mean? Maybe this is enough for her. Like maybe even if he is sort of so, let's say, he's not like this knight in shining armor that she thinks he is, that he's kind of just a regular Joe, that, hey, in her mind, if having coffee on the porch every morning is the greatest thing ever, then she's living a great life, right? I mean, as long as her perception of it feels right, then
and don't get me wrong, I think that is a great thing. But just to hear her talk about it, it was, just struck me. It just, she's like a young girl,
Yeah.
Cause she's never really been in a real relationship before. No. So I don't know. I hope and what are the chances of her finding a guy who has like 8 children himself, and is a widower, and the whole thing is just kind of unbelievable. But but they're very happy. They're,
Yes. All right. Well, should we wrap this sucker up? We got 3 more tell-alls to go.
Yeah. Hopefully we get some more info. Revelations. Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing that is true is Robyn, for being a lead in a show, she really doesn't do much. Because I've been listening to From the Friar, and they keep pointing this out. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Robyn is a lead of a show, and we don't see any aspect of her life at all.
We don't know what they do in that house.
We don't know anything. And so that's the other part too, is why is that okay? I just wish we got more behind the scenes. I wish we got more of like, how is that okay? Like, is she recording stuff and it always is so crappy and terrible that it never airs? Because Janelle and Christine are running around. Meri's like, Meri's got her own phone and her own camera crew herself. Like, Meri's running around trying. Yeah. Yeah. And so Robyn, you just don't need to create content. Is that how it works? Is that it? Because she does the interviews like Kody does, but she creates no content, or she never leaves the house. She never does anything.
No, we never see her do anything with her kids.
We saw her go over to Meri's once.
Yeah.
And then we saw Aurora get her ears pierced. Oh, was that last season? That was last season. Sorry. No, but yeah, even those things, she's, I mean, it was COVID time, so obviously they both couldn't be there, but like the whole thing is just odd. Like, we never see her picking up the kids from school. We saw her potting some plants. Like, that's it.
Yeah. And that was not even real. That was
anyway,
fake.
So
you're right.
Anywho, Well, thank you so much for joining us here. If you like this podcast, please make sure that you're subscribed so that you get our shows every week. We come out twice a week. We do Sister Wives on Tuesdays, and we do a variety of documentaries and other shows on Thursday. This Thursday is The State of Alabama versus Brittany Smith, which is an incredibly frustrating documentary. But good. But very good and important. So I highly recommend checking that out. If you like this podcast and you have nice things to say, please rate us a 5 stars on Apple or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're on social media at Psych Legal Pop on TikTok and Instagram. And let's see, is there anything else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's everything. Thanks so much for being here. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
So avoid the trees. Bye.
The trees.
Avoid. So don't get triggered. There's going to be a lot of Christmas trees out. So don't get triggered.
Trees. Yeah.
Don't get triggered by the Christmas trees.
It's still, the holidays can be difficult.
Yes. It's tough. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Over 90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to handle bill pay processes. Why? Because our tools are built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. We're not just moving money. We're powering financial workflows for 500,000 customers. That's a level of expertise you just can't fake. Ready to talk with an expert? Visit Bill.com/proven to get started and grab a $250 gift card as a thank you. Terms and conditions apply. See offer page for details.
There's nothing like the American Express Platinum Card. Find out your welcome offer after you apply, which could be as high as 175,000 points. Learn more and find out your offer at americanexpress.com/explore-platinum. Terms apply.